On today's video, we'll tell you how another firstborn unit is stealing the show in ninth edition.
Welcome to Implausible Nature, home to competitive Black Templars gameplay.
And just remember that if you like what you see here or are interested in more competitive Black Templars content, please leave a like and make sure that you're subscribed. All right, so first up we have the Outriders. We talked a lot about this unit in our Indominus review. They have not changed much, so just to go over them again, you are going to have a fast three-man unit of these guys, tough 5, 4 wounds apiece. They got a little bit more expensive after the most recent points update, coming in at 150 points for a squad of 3. However, still a good, solid, fast attack unit that is going to be really fast, moving 14 inches, and a flat 6-inch advance with turbo boost. They also have the devastating charge rule, giving them an extra 2 attacks on the charge in addition to their Astartes Chainsword attack. So you're looking at a total of 19 attacks for the squad of 3 on the charge. So with that in mind, really important if you are going to put these guys into combat against a light troops unit or something like that to mop up, do make sure you get the charge with that. It may be worth combining them with a chaplain with Canticle of Hate or someone with Frontline Commander to get that extra bonus to your charges. Something to note, they do have larger bases, so they cannot move through ruins as they are not infantry. So just keep that in mind as you're moving around the board with them. They can be a little bit difficult, especially on ruins heavy boards. So just something to keep in mind. But overall, a solid choice to take and decent shooting, decent melee, nothing that is going to compare to our true dedicated units, but will absolutely take out some light troops for you.
Yep, absolutely. One thing to note, just to kind of add on to that last point, is in the tournament scene, runes is the predominant terrain feature. So you want to make sure that making use of this unit, you plan how you're going to move them. Your opponent can definitely use that against you. So maybe strategic reserves might be worthwhile on some boards, depending on what that layout looks like, because you're not going to want to get stuck not being able to move around the board where you need to because of a ruin. So next up we have the Suppressors. So we're going to keep this one pretty short, but they are cheap long-range firepower for your list, which is definitely useful when you're trying to lock up either a home objective on your side of the board or play the secondary game. They can do several different things with your list for that in a support function. They're not going to kill a whole lot. So you don't take them for their ability to destroy your enemy units, but you do want to be able to take them for those objective options, or more likely, shutting down your opponent's Overwatch. Being a predominantly assault-focused army, we're going to be charging into our opponents quite a bit, and while Overwatch is not nearly as effective as it used to be at being a stratagem-based piece, you do have some opponents that do put out Overwatch, like Tau, some of those bigger ones like AdMech, Space Marine armies that can do that Overwatch on the 5+. That's going to be really hurtful on some of those units that you're trying to get in there at an opportune time. You can shut that down. All you have to do is hit them. So that's going to be really key there. They do have the smokescreen keyword, so you can also use that when you're sitting on your home objectives to make sure that you can use that smokescreen stratagem if you need to get that -1 to hit.
Yeah, I really like this unit. I think it's a great utility unit. It is not going to do a ton of damage, as you said, mostly incidental damage, knocking that last wound or two off of, a squad that's maybe holding an objective. They have a lot going for them and a lot of utility. They are fast with 12-inch and fly. So you'll be able to get them where you need them to be, and they can sit on a home objective. They can do actions if you need them to. They can help you score secondaries. So a lot of utility in this unit, and I think they're definitely worth considering. They're also very cheap, only 100 points. For what they do, I think is definitely worth considering. So next up, we have the Inceptors. Now, these guys are definitely a top meta choice right now. A lot of Space Marine armies are running them, specifically the Plasma Exterminators version. They are extremely cost effective for their points cost. They put out a ton of shots and a ton of damage. They are fast and durable with their Gravis armor. They are going to really put a hurt on anything that you aim them at. Blast any units over 6, they're going to be getting max shots on. So their biggest downside is going to be the fact that you're probably going to be overcharging them every single time, unless you're just fighting a 1 wound enemy unit with them, which most of the time you're going to want to shoot these at harder targets. So you definitely want to have a captain nearby for rerolls. That crucial reroll of 1s is going to be really important for this unit, because otherwise they're just going to blow themselves up with the number of shots that they put out. You'll absolutely have to pair them with a captain. You can also go with a chapter master option, because the chapter master's ability to give full rerolls is you select the unit and then they can fly off. They don't have to be in range. So that's another way to work with them. So yeah, just something to keep in mind with them when you take this unit.
Yeah, these guys are in the big leagues. You're going to see these in nearly all Space Marine lists. I don't personally take them, but that is a conscious choice to take more close combat in my units or my list rather than taking these. But this is not a bad choice. These guys will, in a full size squad, pick up a 10-man Marine unit every time. As long as you have some rerolls, that's potentially even more. And you can split fire, take up multiple Marine units. These guys are just amazing for the points. Even a 5-man squad, 6-man squad, you're going to be putting the hurt on your opponent. Excellent, excellent unit. Which brings us to the final unit, and what my opinion is the best unit in the fast attack slot, and that is the attack bike. So we're only going to be talking about the multi-melta attack bike, because while the heavy bolters are fairly cheap, and you can get a decent unit with the heavy bolters, that's not why you're taking them. Multi-meltas are the go-to for taking out monsters, vehicles, and heavy infantry, and these guys can take it dirtball cheap. There's a reason why Games Workshop and eBay is bought out of these guys. They're super mobile, super durable on a very, very slim point base. So while they don't have as many wounds as a land speeder or the speed of a land speeder, they are core, so they can be affected by your auras, and they do have access to stratagems such as hit and run and skilled riders to give them some additional durability. Due to this, you definitely want to at least take one squad in your list if you are in need of some melta. So they compete directly with the Eradicators for points cost, but due to their mobility, I prefer the attack bikes over the Eradicators. These guys are just awesome. They can contest very easily if you need to the other side of the board. They're durable enough to be out in the open if you need to line up a shot. With the multi-meltas being buffed the width that they are, with the 24-inch range and having 2 shots instead of the 1 shot now, they're just amazing. I don't know how you feel about them, Alex, but I feel that this is a unit that you have to have in a list in the majority of a competitive Black Templars armies.
Yeah, I would absolutely agree that they are one of, if not the best choices to take Melta on. Everybody knows and loves the Eradicators, which are not a bad unit by any means. One advantage that these guys have over the Eradicators is that speed. Being able to move 14 inches in a turn is really going to help you get in Melta range and get that extra baseline 2 damage, d6 plus 2 versus d6, really helps a lot. Having the multi-melta gives them 2 shots per model. They are a little more expensive than Eradicators, but for those points you get a 14-inch move versus a 5-inch move. They are going to be tough 5. They do have 1 more wound than the Eradicators do individually. So just an overall great unit and absolutely worth taking at least a squad of 2 or 3 of them in your lists. All right, so I do also want to mention a unit that I am kind of on the fence about, I guess. The Storm Speeders. They, to me personally, I feel like they are too expensive for what you get. You know, the number of shots that they put out, the amount of damage that they can deal. I feel like those points are better spent elsewhere, like the attack bikes we just talked about, for example. That being said, I do have several competitive players who swear by them and say that they're great and they've had great success with them. So, you know, we've not seen them in any top tournament lists yet. I think partially due to the fact that their model has only just come out. So I think for me, the jury is still out on these units as to whether they are going to be a competitive choice for us or not. But for now, I feel they're a little too expensive.
Yeah, absolutely. I would agree with that. Uh, as mentioned, the jury's still out on them. But right now, on paper, it seems to be that the points are too much for what you get out of the weaponry. Ultimately, for those points, you can take units that better synergize with our list, whether it be Blade Guard Benders or more Terminators or maybe character support, whatever it is that you need in the list, and get it cheaper elsewhere in different units. That's just my opinion right now. I'm happy to be proven wrong with enough analysis and games being put out there, but right now I don't see it on paper.
So that about wraps it up for this video. Hope you guys enjoyed it. If you want to see more content like this, hit that subscribe button and make sure you click the bell icon to get notified on all of our latest content. We have a Patreon and we greatly appreciate their support. So if you'd like to get some exclusive content or you'd just like to support the channel, we really appreciate it. Also, be sure to check out our Discord. We have an active community of players on there where you can get lots of help or discussion on all things Black Templars. Thanks, and we'll see you next time.